trying to test, and you guys are having the best conversation.
I think
and
so.
I wasn't recording. This is the problem with this show.
Yes.
But also why this show exists.
True.
So you could capture at least a little bit of the Palmas
community. I agree.
Would you prefer us to relive this experience?
What, that conversation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
But first, I just want to say welcome to everybody that's listening. There's so much I don't know about you. And I know I'm personally very, very excited for this guest today.
I'm even more excited than her.
I don't know if that's possible.
I don't know how to measure that.
I don't either. So please welcome to the show, Alana Mediavilla. Is that how we say your last name?
So Alana Mediavilla.
Okay, I cannot say it like that.
That's how you would say it if you were to say it like that. Alana Mediavilla. But you could say Alana Mediavilla. That works too. That's
Media.
Did that have any like impact on your decision to get into film?
So Mediavilla in Spanish means half of a villa. So when I was a kid, I would get bullied a lot for, not a lot, but like enough to remember, like, oh, your parents didn't afford the whole villa, so you only have half the villa. So when I was growing up, when I would hear it, I wouldn't hear media. I would hear half, so that kind of mantra, I wouldn't say played a huge role, but I mean, yeah, there it is. It's kind of fate, though.
I love it.
It is kind of crazy.
I know.
So it's funny that we're all, like, we started this off talking about your name because I wrote down some things to talk about. And remember what I messaged you the other day?
What?
About your name?
About with an H?
Yeah. And this is because Erin and I went back and forth with each other and she kept on writing your name without an A. And I'm like, and so I always wrote it with. And I knew how to pronounce it accurately, but I'm like, okay, when you meet somebody and you're friends with them on Facebook, I just automatically go to whatever's on Facebook.
Yes.
And so we went back and forth. I was going to message you too. I decided not to because I wanted a natural reaction on the show when we brought it up.
You didn't care, Erin, so you just texted me.
But because I was super curious.
Well, so it's Alana. It has an H, but it's a silent H because in Spanish you don't pronounce the H's. And with an H, it means it's actually a Hebrew name. And in Hebrew, you do pronounce the H. So it's, crazy. But my mom is Cuban and my dad's Puerto Rican. So for them, it was a Spanish name. And they put the H in it because in Hebrew, it means my child. Oh. And so they really liked it. And my mom is Ana. My dad is Rafa. And they were going with Arana. And then my mom found Alana with an H. And she was like, that's the one. Never mind. Or Arana. Which I'm happy that they did make that decision because L is easier to say than ours. But then when I moved to the States, everybody would always say, "Hey, Alana," and it would just like hurt my ears to hear it all the time. And I didn't want to correct people every single time I met them. I'd like, it's actually Alana. It's Alana. It's Alana. It gets tiresome. Mm-hmm. So then I decided, and I moved to the States, kind of permanently full-time when I was 21, and then I decided to change it. And so my entire professional career, when I moved to California, I just didn't have the H, and it was never a problem, and people would just say my name properly.
Well, I get that. I mean, Erin and I were actually talking about that because my last name is Utek, and you don't really pronounce the T at the end. It's not Utect, which most people actually say Utech. That's what I most commonly get. So Utech.
And that's so weird to me.
Yeah.
Because when I see your name, I never thought.
So when you saw it, you thought Utech?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I thought Utech.
You didn't really pronounce the T?
No. Like I read it the right way, I feel like.
That's incredible. You
had said it to me that somebody says
Uteched. Yeah, that's the most common way. So I'm always correcting people throughout school, throughout all of life.
If you look at her name, would you pronounce it Uteched?
No, but I mean, I can see that.
But also, people on the mainland pronounce her name wrong. So
Well, no, I know.
Well, but in my case, I feel like it makes sense because there is an H in it, and in English, you do pronounce the
Right.
H. So it's like hunk. It's how. Like you see it and you want to say it. So I understand the saying it. And so that's why I kind of made it easy by taking away the H. But I've played with it where I kind of start my name. It's funny that this comes up now because with the movie that I'm working on, the beginning, you know, it says my name. And the question then is, like, do I use the H or do I not use the H? And so
Did you read my show notes?
No.
Because you just gave me the perfect segue. So this movie that you're working on, Dirty Coin, super exciting. And honestly, it was the second thing I wrote down.
Wow. So
Like,
we're like vibing today.
nailed it.
Yeah.
This is good.
I swear I didn't let her see the show notes before.
And I swear I didn't just bring up my movie. It's just that it's funny that this comes up because it's like, what do I do? Is it with an H? Is it without an H? How do I present myself to that big of a market, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. But yeah, the movie, that's the other
Which
thing.
is why we needed to make sure that this interview happened this evening, because you're leaving in a few days for
10
an
weeks?
extended trip.
More or less.
We're so excited for you, but we're gonna miss you guys.
I know,
I'm gonna miss you guys too. I'm gonna miss it
but
here.
it's
But
gonna
everybody,
it's gonna be such an
Amazing.
epic trip, and you're doing the launch
mm-hmm.
of Dirty Coin. Is it technically a pre-launch?
So it's the premiere at a festival.
Yes.
So we're gonna be premiering at the Bitcoin Film Festival in Warsaw at the end of April on 4/20/2024, which is predicted to be the day of the halving. And my documentary is a documentary about Bitcoin mining, so it's very appropriate. And I hope that the halving is actually on 4/20. But we're going to be on 4/20, which is the only palindrome date of 2024. So that's also really cool. There's a lot of cool things about that. And then we'll have a couple of satellite cities that are going to have kind of private screenings of the film as well. But then
Are we having one in Palmas?
That's a good question.
Yes.
Has that not been brought up?
No.
Can we have one in Palmas?
I think she just did. You did. Are we?
I mean,
We could.
I'm here.
It'll be done. We'll
oh
have
my
the
goodness.
file.
Can we have like the whole red carpet and everything? Right?
oh my God, that would be amazing.
Okay,
It's like-
but wait,
yeah.
but then it can't be on 4/20. It's going to have to be during the summer so I can be here.
Oh.
Yeah. Because 4/20, I'm going to be in Poland.
Okay, so
Will
what
you
if
be
we
here in
what if we
June?
still do one on 4/20 and then
Yeah,
we
you-
do
well-
another one when you're back?
Maybe.
I don't think it's going to be the same without her here. I think we have
No, but
to.
Yeah.
I would can't we like stream in?
No.
You can't?
No. So I'm really going like super indie, but also industry driven in the sense of like just how the business model works for how I'm doing this movie. And the industry is changing. And I went last year to AFM, which was the American film market. And one of the things that I realized in like all these panels that I went to and different learning sessions was that everybody was just like kind of with their hands in the air talking how everybody else is bankrupt and streaming is unsustainable and what the hell is going on and who's going to the movie theaters. And it just kind of felt like there was a lot of blood on the streets from the industry perspective. But then there are a lot of redundancies that new cinema and digital cinema change, and independently funded films can exist in a different way. And I'm really excited about that. So I've been following a lot of like filmpreneurs, filmmakers that have been able to make their films become successful and profitable endeavors for them. And there's just a lot of really, really great use cases. So once I'm done making the movie, that's like my right now heads down kind of making the movie and raising funds for the movie, then we focus on evangelizing the movie and getting the word out there and talking more about it and screening it and, you know, gauging people's reactions around the world. Right now, mining is coming under attack in the United States, in the European Union. There's a lot of countries in South America and Africa that are mining themselves. So I think it's a really interesting story, and I hope to be a part of that greater conversation that's happening in the Bitcoin and energy community.
I just think it's really cool. The fact that we know somebody, well, actually what's really funny is, so when I was like just doing a little snooping on the internet about you, I mean, I know you pretty well, but I still just wanted to go see what I could find. And so you're on IMDb, obviously, as a filmmaker. But what's really funny is, so is John, our second guest, and so is Joel, our first. So we've had 3 guests.
Yeah. So she was really hoping that like you were going to be our first, and then it would be something for us to talk about. And then she saw that they're on, and then we both got sad when we talked about it because we are not on IMDb.
No.
And I feel like we should be.
I feel like we should be.
Do you know what? Oh, you know what? When we filmed that fake episode of The Real Housewives of Palmas Del Mar, that's going to get us on IMDb.
100%.
High five from across the room.
Yes. 100%.
Done.
I love it. I do want to make more short films, because just kind of going back to how are you creating content for a community, you know, films for a community. You don't just want to stop with one movie. You want to you want to extend the lifetime of that marketing campaign, of that customer, so to speak, of that fan. You want to keep giving them something. If they liked it, then they want more. You know, so what else are you going to give them? And as a filmmaker, I like presenting stories of people and circumstances that don't normally get to get a microphone put in front of them, you know, like nerdy developers that aren't the CEO that has the incredible publicist that puts them on all of the Fox News and whatever, but people that are just really heads down focusing on developing the thing. And I'd like to continue to, like, we've had I would say a pretty decent success with Stranded, a short film that I released last year in September, and in monetizing that and in using that as marketing. And I want to continue to leverage and experiment with that as a filmmaker. And I think that short films are an excellent medium to test out kind of experiences. Like, do you remember your mystery night that you did?
Oh yeah, my murder mystery.
Your murder mystery. So imagine if like
I need to have another one of those.
Yes.
Yeah. A redo. When I'm in town.
I've had 2 now.
So when we're friends and I'm in town. Yeah. Because the first one I didn't know you.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think.
No, we might have. I don't know. I don't even know. We met a couple times before we actually
became friends.
And then we realized we lost all this time because we're so awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we had this missed opportunity. But it's okay. We're over it now.
It wasn't meant to be.
Definitely over it now.
But something like that, you could play like a short film to go before it. You know, that kind of sets the stage that you filmed right here with the people that are going to be here. And, you know, you could, there could be an integration of this experience, and it can be a luxe experience. And I don't know, there's a bunch of different people doing some really cool stuff with media right now, and like, new media experiences that I'm finding really exciting.
Will you direct our episode of The Real Housewives of Palmas Del Mar?
Oh my God. Yes.
Okay.
That would be amazing.
Okay. Good.
Okay. We have location already.
Palmas Del Mar.
No. JLD's. Remember?
What?
We're going to do the pool scene for sure there.
Oh, yes. Well,
there's
no, don't tell them about the episode.
It's just a pool scene. That's it. That's all.
Okay, you don't know what's going to happen in the pool. But when you see a pool on our episode,
you'll know.
Something
happens.
Something happened there.
So I was going to ask you, and you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but I know that you have ideas for other films. Is that something that you're discussing now, or?
Yes. One thing I learned going to AFM last year when I went with Dirty Coin and Stranded, right? Like Stranded as like, this is the short film, and then I'm working on Dirty Coin, the feature length documentary about Bitcoin mining. And I went really prepared for that. And I met a lot of people that are in other genres, that are in scripted mostly, that are in horror, that are in drama, that are in family, that are in different other things that aren't unscripted, that aren't documentaries. So I felt like there was a lot of wasted energy of like myself as a producer just going representing the one film, and I really need very little to represent my movie. So in order for a buyer to know if they want to continue having a conversation, they actually don't need that much from you. They need, one pager or even just a log line and a poster and some art and some treatment and what kind of actors you want to have in it. Like, it can actually be pretty high level in order to get you into the door. And you can get those pre-sales before you even make the film. You can get to gauge as a filmmaker what is the interest for that content. And so that's something that I'm going to be doing differently this time. And so this year I am planning around being at Cannes to go to the market. That's not for sure yet. That would extend our family trip.
That would be so amazing.
That would be so amazing.
Be incredible. It's just that it would be the 5 of us, and it's like, yes, because that's early May.
And what an experience.
And that would
for
be
your kids.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do differently this time is I have a couple of different ideas of films that I want to do, but rather than going out and fundraising for it and doing it and then going to sell it, I'm going to have my slate really beefed up with everything that I want to do, who I would how the stage of development that these concepts are in. And then I get to go to the market and I get to actually pitch them, see what bites, see what has interest. And then based on that, that's when I'm going to make a decision of what I'm really going to focus on next.
While you were talking, I just came up with the coolest idea. If this goes really well and it's really a big hit in the community, we come up with a list of kind of like different types of episodes. For example, if we have any friends who have like parents in town, we're going to get them on an episode of like, family friends.
Palmas parents
and
yes,
Palmas peeps and the parents who made them.
Oh yeah.
Another kind of episode is out and about. And she said that she's always, whenever we're talking about out and about, she's like, you're going to say it every time because I sound pretty.
Because her Wisconsin comes out.
Yeah. So
is out and about an episode where we record a podcast episode at like a Palmas restaurant?
Definitely. But it will also include talking to randos. Like tourists and people, just people we don't know.
So just in pura vida out there and being like, come sit down.
Pretty much.
And why wouldn't you? You see us with all this professional equipment.
Yeah. People will come talk to us.
Yeah,
for sure.
Of course. You're gonna. I can see you. And you're gonna be like, come on.
I'm gonna bring him in. I'm gonna bring him in. I'm gonna do that.
We should get a sign. There's so much I don't know about you.
Let's get
a Chloe sign.
Oh, I'm like a Chloe sign here. I'm like, can we get a
neon
sign
that we can?
No, I want to hire somebody. I want to hire somebody.
We can have both
to have this big sign that they flip around.
We have to hire our fact checker first. Remember?
Yeah.
We need a new fact checker.
A fact checker?
So I don't know if you know. But
what actually happened at the Palmas Athletic Club with all that money?
No,
that could be fun, though. That could be really fun. Ooh, might get us in trouble.
So I have an important question. You're on all these things. So this triggered something in my head. There's 2 types of people. There are people who have a million tabs open, and then there are people who can't handle that, and they get rid of everything except for what they're using. Who are you?
A million tabs open across multiple windows and sometimes desktops until my computer can't take it anymore. Yeah. And sometimes when my computer crashes, I'm like, oh, that's like a little reset of my brain. Yeah.
Same.
But no, I'm definitely a bunch of tabs.
You're a bunch of tabs?
100%.
That's amazing.
It's yeah.
think it's how geniuses operate.
It's 100% many tabs, multiple screens. Like I can be on it all.
What about you?
I can have as many tabs as it'll show before it shrinks the size of the tab.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
So that's like
multiple windows.
Yeah,
but in
exactly.
multiple windows. Yeah.
No, I can't
yeah.
do that.
And
no.
I have
multiple
and I have multiple screens.
No.
I have my main, like my laptop computer, and then I have another screen. So I go back and forth.
It's like a, I don't know, keep it clean kind of thing. I'm
all over the place.
Same.
Back and forth and back and everywhere. Mm-hmm.
All right.
And then when
All
I
day
disconnect
long.
my monitors and everything collapses to my laptop screen, I'm like, wow.
But you know what? I'm also the person who, if somebody's sending me a text message, it drives me nuts that there's a notification there. So
Yeah.
I clear my notifications throughout the day because,
I can't. I don't have notifications on.
Yeah.
The only notification I get is a text
I don't
or
know,
a phone call.
I don't know why I don't just turn it off.
Yeah, I have it all off.
That's important.
Interesting.
You need to turn it off.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
Shut
because
it down,
then
Bex.
it's like I it's like unproductive to-do list, busy work.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I acknowledge this. This is one of my crazy. You know.
Sometimes I catch myself like cleaning out my inbox, and I'm like, I'm procrastinating. Like, come on. There's more important things for me to do right now. I mean, obviously I do need to clean out my inbox sometimes.
I do clean out my inbox. I have
so many folders for everything.
I have folders.
Organized.
I have so many folders, but I also, once it gets past a certain number, it freaks me out.
Yeah, me
and it
too.
depends
Oh,
on
God.
the email inbox too, like which one it is. If it's my personal, it's bigger. It like that number's larger. They can sit out there.
Yeah, it's like
But,
Nordstrom and things like that.
Yeah. And but then like other mailboxes, I need them to be like 10 or less.
Yeah, I need to get there. I feel like I've been ignoring all of my hats recently just to get certain hats like done that are just like full-time hats. And that to me, like not getting back. Actually, that was one of my New Year's resolutions, was answer emails more promptly, because there's just so many chat apps and so much business occurs across these chat apps that very often emails are like more official. It's easy to get lost in the fold and in the shuffle, and and then I can sit on them for longer. But really, I do think that being fast and getting back to people is a better way to get projects done.
Yeah. So that just made me think of something. How have we not figured out how to combine everything that comes in? And like, you get a message on Instagram, you get a message on WhatsApp, you get a message on Signal, you have texts, phone calls. Maybe text and phone calls have to stay out of it, but why hasn't somebody put it so it's all in one place so you know where you're...
Like your phone?
No,
on
because you
the
still have to
same
go
screen?
to 15 different apps and like look at 1,000 different groups.
There are
You know what I mean? Like, so that you could organize it between all of them. I feel like we'd all be much happier.
Really? That sounds stressful.
It sounds way less stressful than having 50 different WhatsApp groups, 50 different Signal groups, having to go to different apps, forgetting where somebody messaged you. Like, was it Instagram? Was it WhatsApp? Did they text me? I don't remember.
Kind of like all inbox. Just everything.
Yeah. All the stuff that you're supposed to reply to that you haven't responded to. You could put it in like order of importance. I don't know.
Maybe this exists.
If it does, I need somebody to tell me, because I want that.
Back to you, Alana.
Doesn't that sound nice?
So I have the different chat apps have kind of different, like if I give you my WhatsApp, I don't have notifications from WhatsApp, but I do from Signal, and I have some groups muted on Signal. But my groups on Signal are my more important groups. I don't have as many, but they're all kind of important. And again, some of them I just have muted, but I will go and like check on them. And then Telegram, I don't have notifications on for Telegram because that's too
I don't
crazy.
even get in there anymore. I never log into Telegram. I think you have to because of Dirty Coin, right?
I have to because of Dirty Coin. Yeah. The Bitcoin community is very much on Telegram.
Yeah.
So I guess that is how I kind of bucket people, or people like you just text me because I get texts. And so text, Signal too, but text, I see your name. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't, in my opinion, text is like the most personal if I'm not calling you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Too.
But it's not just about the notifications for me. It's all those little red dots.
Oh yeah, I hate them.
I have to hide them. They need to go away.
Yeah, so you need to turn off notifications. That's all you need to do.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to work on that.
Thanks.
So this leads me to, like, I feel like she did read the show notes because it's like perfect segue into one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about that I feel like we haven't really talked about much. And that is your life at Google, what that was like when you were there. And I feel like there has to be some pretty fantastic stories from being there. I don't know what you can, share with us.
Because of our show, there's so much I don't know about you. Tell us something.
I already had film kick when Google approached me for an interview. And I was currently at that time, I had 2 people working for me part-time, working on projects. I was hiring people all the time. And I was just curious how Google did their interview process. And so I took the interview to do research on how to interview because I started my company young. I was just kind of like figuring it out as I went. And there's only so much I knew. So I took the interview. The interview went great. And then they invited me on campus for a second interview. And I have a business. My business is doing well. But I just got invited to Google. So I've never been inside Google, but we lived in San Jose, so I was close. And I was like, well, I'm going to take the interview because
it's Google.
It's Google. I'm going to go check it out. I'm going to check out the campus. So I go and I meet the team, and it is such a cool, fun, nerdy filmmaker, people like me, like a community or group team. And it was for Google Cloud specifically. And Google Cloud was like growing and like just, really becoming something like what it is today and beyond. And I really loved the idea of growth at that scale, at that global scale. And I knew that if I was ever going to learn that, it was going to be at Google. And so, I was there. We had lunch. I loved it. People with dogs, and like people doing exercising outside because I went to do my interview at the Quad in Mountain View, and it's like people playing volleyball right there. Like it was such a cool spot, and the food was delicious. And so I left, and I was like, wow, it's incredible. I didn't think I was gonna get the job. And that was for a video specialist role. So that was a role for like a shooter, editor, motion graphics. Like I was supposed to basically be fully in charge of the video. And so I took the job, and that's actually when I took that job, because I had my business and I had Google. That's when Reston actually stepped down from his full-time work and then stepped up as full-time parent. And then I was working at Google full-time during the day, and then I had my office still with a couple of other clients like Volvo, PayPal, Porsche, a couple of other clients that we kept doing videos on the side for while I was working at Google.
Okay, so now I need to know, how did you land those gigs?
Well,
because you were new.
Well, I mean, at that point, I had maybe 5-6 years of experience. So, I had some experience. At this point, I've been doing it for 13 years with my business. So yeah. So and then Google, I had then Google was just like a fast track of experience. It was like fast track of like how to make a bunch of stuff really quickly at the highest quality we could make it. And you got to translate it and localize it to 12 languages. You know, like everything was like that. And so that was really cool. But I was in Silicon Valley, and I've always been a fan of networking and meeting people and not really kind of expecting anything in return. Just making friends in this space. And I think that that's the best attitude for networking, because it has worked for me. And in those like networking meetings of like female entrepreneurs in Palo Alto, well, who are you going to meet? You know, you're going to meet people from the tech industry. And I mean, I drop big names when I say who I worked for, but for every big name I did work for, there were like 5 startups, you know, and smaller companies that I produced their video content for. So I mean, Silicon Valley is just, there's just so much work going on there. There's so much happening and being born there. It's like this, like the creation of a star, you know, like there are certain places that it's really hard to stop the innovation. It's like, it's just boiling over with creativity and new ideas and capital and people that want to work late and people that want to just do their best work, because everybody kind of knows that that's their time in Silicon Valley. You know, that's like your opportunity to kind of do something at a very massive scale. And then you can easily pivot to a different job. You can, you know, once you have ex-Google, you're ex-Google for forever. It's like an alumni kind of a
You are
situation.
Like, seriously, this whole time I'm thinking, you're like one of the coolest people I've ever met.
It is true.
Yeah.
It really is.
Like, just incredible.
Thank you. And then I got an electric bike, and for like 2 years I biked to Google every day. I would bike there and back. And I also built a couple of their big studios with a big budget and a big team, so it wasn't myself alone. But I got to play with some really big numbers, and that was really fun, and some professionals. And I feel like that's when I went from like do it all to, if you wanted to be good, spend money to get the right people in the room, right. You know, and then get a gaffer, get a director of photography, rent the lenses, spend the money, and that's how you turn a tech video into something that looks good, you know. So that was really fun.
So you didn't answer my other question about Google.
The crazy story.
Yeah, there has to be something crazy.
Oh my God. There is a crazy story. So, and this actually ties it back to Dirty Coin. And I see twice I'm being brought to Dirty Coin. So,
that's fine.
So check this
totally
out. Fine. We used to do a lot of content for the learning team. And one of the things that Google does for developers to learn how to use Google Cloud and develop on cloud is they need to have real world scenarios where they're actually using virtual machines to practice a skill that they just learned. You know, you need to actually do it and move the things around. And so people, one day, everything like, I don't know if they were like turned off or what happened. I don't know how we had like an emergency meeting that the quizzes weren't working, that they had to turn off the virtual machines because people were taking the course just to get free time on the virtual machines to mine Bitcoin. So they were using...
That's funny.
So they were using free like cloud computing to run their Bitcoin mining operation. They were mining Bitcoin.
Oh
and
my gosh. Do you talk about this in the movie?
No, I actually, you know what's funny? I actually just forgot about that until you asked me about a crazy story. I haven't like thought about that. And we didn't sign an NDA or anything when that happened. I mean, that was just like a weird fucking thing. Like we were like, what? And like mining Bitcoin. I remember at the time being like, what? I already knew about
what
Bitcoin.
Year was that? Do you remember?
So I remember the building that we were in when that happened, and that was the same year as Maria, because I was in sitting
So
at that desk when I found
2018?
out about Maria, what was going on in Maria. So yes, so 2018. So this was, wow. So this was 6 years ago already. And here I am making a documentary about Bitcoin mining so many years
So
later.
cool.
That's crazy.
So that would be a crazy story.
Yeah. Huh.
Also, I gained like maybe like 30 pounds while I was already like round and like yummy. And then I joined Google and then I just gained like 30 more pounds because the food was just so good. And I just didn't say no to anything.
I love that, round and yummy.
Yeah, it was, you know, yummy, but cut around. And yeah, so, and you know, slides everywhere. I really enjoyed my time there. There's a reason why they call it the golden handcuffs, because I felt like I was already at the top of my ladder. I hit the top of my ladder, but I was 35. And I was like, well, this is a little too young to have peaked. But I knew that if I wanted to keep growing, then I had to leave. And so I left because again, 35 peaking, but what a place to peak at, you know. Yeah. It's like a great place. They'll take care of you there. You have an issue, you can bring it up. There's a system for everything. Like, it's fantastic. Yeah. But I had to go.
Coolest person.
So that's what I was just going to say. And so I want to add to that because I think that you're very courageous. You left Google. I mean, you had your own business. You had your own thing going on. But you left Google and came here, right?
I was still working at Google when we moved here.
Okay. So how long were you here before you decided to?
So I left Google before coming here.
Okay.
I did, but I moved
You were
here.
contracting, right?
No,
Okay.
no. So I now still contract. So my company, that was one of the reasons why I had to leave, because I turned my company into a Google vendor. And so I couldn't promote my Google vendor-ness for FilmKick, my company, while I was still working there, because that was one of my jobs, was actually being an internal producer and recommending production companies to use for certain projects, like the ones that our team couldn't handle. I would direct that to some other company in San Francisco or something. So I was aware of the volume of you know, projects that were going, and I would not have been able to say go to FilmKick, because that would have been a huge conflict of interest. So I left, but with a long runway, because I actually quit Google 3 times, but I feel like that's a longer story. But I was supposed to be done with Google next, but that was the week of the pandemic. That was 2020. That was the second time that I quit Google, because the pandemic happened. Suddenly the event gets canceled the week before. We are in the middle of this huge project that had taken us months to plan. It's like a huge Google convention, and there's like cameras everywhere and recording everywhere. So it was like a big lift. And so I decided with my boss, and all my FilmKick work dried up because it was a lockdown. So suddenly all of our shoot dates get canceled. And these are shoot days that were making a good amount of money. Like with 4 or 5 shoot days, I secure the month, you know? So these were important shoot days that were suddenly gone. And my boss had this huge problem on her hands, because the event suddenly is going virtual, and I have a huge problem on my hands. So we decided that it would be best for both of us for me to stay and then finish out like the event and then hand over some things. And so it wasn't until, so we moved here, and I already knew that we were going to make that transition to just me working full time on FilmKick and Dirty Coin. So I kind of replaced Google with Dirty Coin, because I still basically went from 80 hours a week to 80 hours a week again. But yes, I already knew that was happening. And I had a big project that I was landing with right after leaving Google. And that one pulled out like 2 weeks before I quit. And I had to suddenly pick up a really big project here from Palmas, from my little converted closet office. And it's been 3 years now, and I've been able to as a filmmaker, be the breadwinner of my family of 5, and still have the kids going to tennis class.
Really funny because your husband makes bread.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you're the bread maker, but he actually makes bread.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. And we're very happy about this.
Yes. We love this.
Yes.
Yes, I love this too.
Yeah.
I mean,
your house always smells delicious.
It does. And he loves making that bread, and my family, like those kids eat that bread when
our whole community loves that bread.
I went to Lavon. I've been going to Lavon because I'm editing the movie in San Juan, so I've been like commuting every day to San Juan, which sucks. But this place, Lavon, is really delicious, and I got their sourdough, and it was honestly not as good as Rustin's. And this is a really great place. Like everything else that they do is delicious, and the sourdough is good, but it was just not as good as Rustin's.
It's funny because I always talk about how amazing this community is. And I have a friend back home who will always say, like, it's like unreal to them, that they're like, no, you're just exaggerating how great it is. Oh, my bread guy came and dropped off a loaf, and they like that. It was like had exploded. Like, you have a bread guy, and I'm like, yes. Best bread ever.
Did you tell them that you have a bread guy because that's how he pays for his golf cart? That's also really freaking cool.
So
it's so cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's so cool.
All right. So Rustin and Alana had purchased our first golf cart that we bought. Putt. Yeah. That was our first golf cart that we bought when we came to Puerto Rico. And so there's a little sentimental love, it's like
putt-putt.
Yeah, putt. Couldn't make it up many hills, but it's so great, and he loved it. And they purchased it from us, and after a while, we said to them, Sean, I think it was like at Christmas time, and he was just like, instead of like paying me back for this golf cart, can you just bring us a loaf of bread every month? And Rustin's like, that's an expensive loaf of bread. And so that's what we do.
That is what we do. For the film, I traveled to so many different places in the last couple of years. So it was incredible. I wrote them all down for the first time in order to get ready for our audit, our financial audit. I put everything that everywhere that I traveled, and it was really great places, and some like far away, remote places as well. But I kept wanting to come back to Palmas. Like I kept thinking, like when I came in and I came back, not just to here, but to like our friends and hanging out and just running into somebody, going to the bank, walking to the bank, taking the golf cart to the bank, walking to the beach, going to the beach at night. I mean, it's such a special place. And I feel like whenever I hear somebody go like, oh, Palmas, the gated community, and I'm like, yeah, you're not welcome here. I do not need to change your mind about Palmas. Yes, you're right.
Exactly.
Never mind. Don't look here. Yeah. Keep going, because I love our little hidden paradise of weird and awesome, and we should not disrupt it with anybody that is expecting anything else.
So
Agreed.
Speaking of weird and awesome, on every episode we like to ask a ridiculous question. Or a silly question.
You had one.
I do. I just am I'm acknowledging it.
Okay. What are we calling it? Do we have a name for it?
No, because the question changes every time.
Okay. It's
All
the
right.
ridiculous question.
So here's your ridiculous question. If you were stuck in a TV show for a month, what would it be and why?
Oh my God.
I'm going to give you a moment to think about it, because I think that the segment should be called The Impossible Question, because it's impossible to answer that on the spot.
No, it's not. Okay.
It would be Oh, yeah.
This is any show, old, new, anything.
And you
For a
can't
whole
ever
month.
change it? You're stuck in it forever?
No, it's 1 month.
Oh, 1 month. Okay.
You're just stuck
Okay.
there for a month.
Okay, that's okay. I can think of a few. Can we have more than... I mean, I would want to go on Gilmore Girls. Schitt's Creek.
Yeah. I'll join you in Schitt's Creek.
I know. But like Friends
We'll go to Cafe
And-
Tropical.
and Gossip Girl. I loved Gossip Girl. It'd
Oh.
be fun to go
Oh
on
my
Gossip
gosh.
Girl.
I watched that back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Me too.
I've watched it multiple times. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
XOXO.
Gossip Girl. when I used to watch that and Sean would come in, he'd always get into his fun voice where he was like, Gossip Girl. XOXO.
Oh, God.
It was a good one.
Did
I
we-
haven't watched the new one. I thought Bewitched, but no, I would
But
say
wait,
Bewitched.
the old Bewitched?
The old Bewitched,
Okay.
yeah, the old Bewitched. But I would say also Bewitched because she was fun. She seemed like a fun mom. Like she would be a cool person to hang out with.
because you wouldn't be here, you would be you.
I would be,
so
yeah.
so you would be like her cool next door neighbor, not
I would hang
like
out.
what was her name? Gladys? Was it Gladys? You're not gonna be like Gladys.
No, I'm
You're
gonna
gonna
be
be like her
like-
best friend.
Yeah. And I'm gonna like hide for her and stuff. Yeah, she would be super cool. But also, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel because she
Love
would
that
just make
so
me laugh and
much.
laugh and laugh.
Yeah. I love that too. I
Yeah.
watched that a couple times. What would yours be? Schitt's Creek, for sure.
Yeah, because you're gonna be there and we're gonna have so much fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Gosh, I don't for a month. I actually expected that question to be a lot easier. But I'm stumped. At some point I'm gonna think about it for a minute while you guys talk and I'll come back to you.
Okay, Trish.
I'm gonna put some heartfelt thought into this question.
And in like a week, you're going to come back with your
You're
answer.
gonna edit it
These-
in
and
with like
out
different
of
audio.
the blue.
We have Eric Swider on our next show, so I'll bring it up on that episode.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, cool.
That's great.
That'll be a fun episode.
Yeah. Is there anything else you would like us to know that we don't know about you?
I feel like there's a lot of things. I used to come to Palmas since I was a little girl, so Palmas has been kind of like in my life for a long time. I kind of hated it when I was in college because it was very yuppie, and I felt it was very like not my style. And actually, when I came to Puerto Rico, I wasn't going to move to Palmas. I was going to move to Rincon. So that's maybe something that you didn't know about me, that we were going to go to the West Coast. But then we had already booked our Airbnbs on the West Coast, and we visited. But we felt that like the kids, it wasn't easy for them to like get out of the house where we were renting in Aguada. It was a beautiful place right next to the beach, right next to the wilderness. It was incredible, but not a lot of people around. And ultimately, when we came to visit my dad, that my dad lives in Palmas, when we came to visit my dad here, there were kids everywhere, there were cool parents everywhere, there were cool people everywhere, and that was something, a sense of, and we came, and it was 2021, early 2021, and other places of the island were a lot more locked down, and here I felt like we had already had like a fucked up year in California during 2020 and the beginning of 2021, and we just wanted to give our kids some semblance of normalcy, and we felt that there were like-minded people in Palmas. And I'm really happy that we made the decision to come and stay here.
We are as well.
And thank you, ladies, so much. I look forward to listening to more of your episodes, and thank you for having me on.
Oh, thank you for being here. It's been definitely our pleasure.
Yes.
So we were talking about your upcoming trip, and you have some of your places picked out, but some of them you're still undecided on. So you mentioned Budapest.
Mm-hmm. And then we went to bathhouses.
And then we went to bathhouses, which, well, actually, no, that led me to Istanbul,
Right.
which led me to a bathhouse. Also known as a hammam.
This has been our conversation after we hit stop on the record. So we decided it was too good.
Yeah, we had to hit record again because we thought it was a pretty funny convo.
Very
I was learning. I did not know that they did that in Turkey. So do you want to explain that to me? How that works?
Yes. So Joel and I did it, and
you were at the spa.
We were at the spa. Joel and I both went to the spa and signed up for the hammam and a massage. And so you go in, you get this little room where you put all your stuff and change. And for women, they give you a robe and these little paper panties. And then you get walked out to the sauna where you sit in the sauna for a while in your robe. And then they come get you and they take your robe and you're in a room with all these other naked women and the people that do the bath. I don't know what you call them. And then
the bathers, sure. And you lay down on a marble stone and they pour water on you.
Is the marble stone cold?
No, I feel like it was warm. So they pour water on you, they pour soap on you, and then they proceed to use like a loofah rub all over your body, everywhere except for where the paper panties are. And so you're all soaped up, and like to the point that I remember, like, I guess because you have to turn over, and so it's pretty fun. But I mean, it was fine. I read some reviews, blogs about it before we went because I really wanted to know what I was like getting myself into. And this one girl described the like whole turnover thing as like really hard and awkward, and I don't know. I just was like, it wasn't that big of a deal.
I'm not good with the turnovers anyway. Like every single time I have a massage.
Oh yeah.
I always you know how like whales, they come out of the water and go, and they come out of the water and then they kind of flap down. It's like such this awkward. Like every single time she's like, okay, flip, and I'm like. And I see the whale every single time. I'm like, this is like the most awkward thing. And I always wonder, is it just me, or are other people feel really awkward when they like are trying to flip? You're like, you're kind of
inquiring minds want to know.
I don't know. I feel like the flip is. I always forget if I'm supposed to turn away or turn towards while she's holding up the towel.
I always turn away.
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't know
which way you're supposed to turn.
I see the whale come out of the water every single time when I don't.
That's funny.
So there you go.
So I will say this. So after that is actually the worst part, because you get up from the marble where you're being washed and they lead you over somewhere else to rinse you off, and you never know when the bucket of water's coming. So you basically just stand there with your eyes and mouth closed, and then you blow out every like little bit just to breathe. It's real fun.
Wow.
And you really don't know if it's going to be warm or cool.
Oh,
the water.
It's is like, that on purpose for to get your brain?
Yeah, I don't know.
So my question is, the men then had their own room. Did they also get like a little thong thing, or did they have?
He did not get a thong thing.
He had to just go in balls out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
We have to ask.
We didn't ask Joel about this. I guess we're gonna have to do a
part 2
follow up.
Yeah,
but we both enjoyed it, and then after that you go like rest and get have a drink, like a coffee or tea. I think they bring you Turkish tea, and then like this little tray of goodies, and then they rub your feet, and then we went and we had a massage. That was really nice, and then they give you a little snack at the end of it all. It's very pleasant. It was a very good experience.
Wow, that sounds actually really amazing.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just gotta say it all and see what.
No, you could do like funny things like.
Oh my god! Like typical Palmas sounds.
I would just go record the cookies. Oh, or the beach and the waves.
Oh,